Alright, this is going to be a video on how to get the biggest bang for your buck for your mesos. Now, this is not a meso, I guess, obtaining guide. This isn't a meso farming guide. This is just, you have a little bit stashed away, a couple bill, and you don't know how to use it best. Well, I'm going to tell you how to do it best. Now, this is a small version of a bigger project I eventually want to get into that explains over every little detail for mid, late, and eventually endgame when I get there for your gear progression. So yeah, let's assume you have a couple bill. What do you spend it on? So ideally, you'd want to spend your first nice chunk of change on the items you can replace. What this means, your CRA items, right? Your Chaos Root Abyss items. So if you have, you know, 50, 60 of each of these, you have maybe 12 or 10 to 12, maybe even more replacements right there. Why is this a priority? Well, because you don't have to safeguard. Since these are such easy access and they are considered endgame items, meaning you're going to keep them forever, you can safely just kind of dispose them, right? You don't have to safeguard, you don't have to waste extra money to get some extra damage. So that is a huge, huge benefit to these three items, and that's why I advocate for pushing these up to, honestly, if you're feeling lucky, 21 stars, 22 stars as soon as possible. On or off events depends on how you want to play it. I personally recommend getting CRA items or any items really. If you're patient enough, if you're gonna put them at 17 stars, just do the 5, 10, 15 events. If you are going to push it beyond that, I would then use the 30% events to do so. When I say beyond, I mean like 21 or 22 stars. But if you're gonna go bring it to 21 CRA items at least, 22 isn't too far fetched. Mind you, it is a minuscule amount of damage for the Meso you are potentially investing. Because if you blow up 21 stars trying to get to 22, that's a huge detriment to your funding and your account overall and your main. So if you want to play it safe, as safe as you can, just go to 17 stars, maybe 19, since they're pretty replaceable. Um, if you want to get that extra push in, or you don't, or this happens a lot where you have a bunch of money saved up, mesos, but you don't have any other items to put them into, or you don't have backups for certain items, I would say just push your CRA to 21. You don't, I wouldn't recommend going to 22 early on, but I got greedy. So yeah, CRA, first priority, easily replaceable. They're end game. You're gonna keep them forever until you're an absolute legend and you are taking 1% of health off of Kalos. Um, so yeah, definitely start there. The next one, I would personally say, kind of following that main line of thought, right? The superior Gollux items, more specifically the earring and the belts, because they drop as an entire equip instead of getting the coins that drop. Because they drop so, I'm not going to say commonly, because they drop as a completed item and not fractions of an item like a coin. Stock up on these, and stock up on pink bean belts and enraged chaos Zakum belts. I don't know the name of it, but the Zakum belt that you get from killing chaos Zakum. Stock up on those, star force those up to 21 stars, no less, and then transfer over to this belt. And then honestly, you can keep it at 20. I would recommend bringing this up to 21 stars, but that's on you, up for your own discretion. Earrings are a little different. Um, oh boy, earrings. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can put reinforced earrings and transfer them into superior Gollux earrings. Now, what I mean by transferring is you click this blue hammer in your inventory. Yeah, you can. You click the item you want to reinforce. You click the end result of the items that it's going to go into, and it shows you what you're going to get. So now what this does is it takes the stars from this, the first item, or your reinforced, it implements it into the second item you selected that can only be a maximum of 10 levels higher, so 140, 150. and it puts this amount of stars -1 into this item here. So this would technically be 16 stars instead of the 17 this originally had, but it would be superior, so you would get the superior Gollux bonus. Something else to consider, you see this is epic. You cannot transfer higher than epic potential. You can still transfer the item over, but it won't be legendary or unique. And if you have those types of lines, like this has 2 lines of Meso, you're going to get some random rolls on those. So yeah, Transfer Hammer is a great tool to save you a ton of money on basically, well, everything really. Any type of star forcing, you're gonna want to see what options you have for transfer hammering. So, okay, cool. Let's say you have your CRAs at 21, your superior Gollux belt and earrings at 21 stars. But what's next? We're gonna still follow that easy access rule. We're gonna look at the Kana's treasure. Please, if you are new or you haven't done this yet on your main, Princess No, you need to do this because this is either an endgame item for you or an item you will transition into meso or farming gear or bossing gear. So for example, I have this bossing gear or this bossing ring and this nice drop ring or farming ring. So you can use this as an endgame item, even though technically it really isn't, but you can transfer the stars into the endgame rings for sure, like the slime ring, the chaos slime ring, or the regular slime ring, dawn ring, whatever. You can also use Meister rings, but that's its own battle that you're gonna have to fight. To be honest, I don't know the first thing about Meister besides you have to use a lot of resources and time, but you can look into that. Or else I would show you how to do it. After that, let's say you get your superior, you finally get your superior pendant and Gollux ring with the coins, these coins here. Get them to 17 stars. Safeguard them, please. Please safeguard them. You do not want to spend another, what, 3 weeks or a month on daily hard Gollux that you'll probably have to get carried to if you don't already have these. Just safeguard them. It costs a little bit more, I know. Safeguard them. It'll be worth it. Event rings are always nice. They save you a ton of money. I mean, hell, I'm still using them at level 261. Mainly because I haven't gotten a slime ring, but eventually, right? After 50 some kills, I might get it one day. Okay, so after that, I wouldn't really recommend star forcing anything that isn't arcane past 17. You can definitely do your, your Absol Lab to 17 stars. I would not pass it by that by any means at all, ever. I was able to do hard lucid in party form, of course, with full 17 star Absol Lab items, and I was contributing a decent amount. Now, mind you, I had a high legion, and eventually, when they remove full carries, meaning you don't have to do any damage, you might have to end up putting some stars on your Absol Lab up to 17 again. Don't pass that. Even some cubes, but either way, yeah. Once you get arcane items, stop at 17 stars. The most efficient way to upgrade them is what's called rouletting. So you start off with, let's say, I'm a bad example, but you start at 17 stars. You get everything to 17, safeguarding them, right? Don't touch your weapon more than 17 stars because the endgame item is worth. Just trust me. Just leave this at 17. Get your Genesis weapon eventually, and the money you saved on this will look a lot nicer literally anywhere else on your character or even on your account for that matter. So again, rouletting, 17 stars you get for these 4 items, and you just inch them up 1 by 1 star, meaning you'll get the, let's say the cape for example, they all give the same benefit past 17 star per star. So like, actually no, I think that's wrong. Yeah, that's way wrong. Okay, never mind. So yeah, rouletting. You get your cape, you get any item, doesn't matter, to 17 star. You get them all to 17 star. You, you inch one up to 18 stars, you get the rest of them to 18 stars. You get one to 19 stars, you get the rest of them to 19 stars, and so on. I don't recommend getting 22-star Arcane until everything else is done at 22 or even 21. Because not only are they not so replaceable, depends on your boxes, depends on your weekly runs and how much you farm with getting these droplets, but eventually you'll have to do enough damage. So yeah, again, 17 star for Arcane, and then roulette them up to 19 or 21. I got lucky with these two in the last event, so I get to swim in that glory for a little bit until I boom them at 22. Anyway, after that, if you end up getting a Twilight Mark while you're trying to get your Arcane items, or you do this Forsaken daily Commercy PQ, you can put them in either this or these items. I mean, unless you're getting carries until it gets removed. You're getting carries and you're getting free Berserked and Damien eye patches, then these are fine for a good chunk of time. Even then, I wouldn't necessarily pass them past 17 or 19 stars. This, I just rage tapped and got it up a little bit. But so yeah, we got those done. I guess for cubing, it's pretty obvious, but if you don't know, your weapon, secondary, emblem, WSE, are your priority. You will want to get your cubes on these three alone, only these three, done. Honestly, maybe even before you start in Star Force. Because these three lines of potential, or these nine technically, are going to do so much extra damage for you. Specifically in the sense of attack percent or magic attack accordingly. Now, when it comes to your weapon, if it's not Arcane, I wouldn't bother going ham on the cubes, but still get 2%, 2 lines of attack percent. Or if if your Legion's got you covered on most of the damage that you need, you can do what I did over here and just get 3 usable lines for bossing. That being ignore defense, boss, and attack, or any variation of the 3. As long as you have 1 line of attack, you'll be fine. That being said, I would also recommend getting a secondary, one for bossing like this. Actually, this was supposed to be my bossing one, but I realized I did 1 billion more damage with this one than I did this one, testing on lucid dummies. So I guess I only have a bossing and a farming one now. Ideally, if you get 2 lines of attack, maybe a line of percent damage for farming, that's helpful, but that's if you're trying to really push your boundaries a bit. So yeah, focus on those. Definitely get your meso and drop gear. You don't necessarily have to go for the double lines like this. I would just get 5 lines of meso to equal 100 in items, and 4 lines of item drop to equal 80%. This is the most efficient way to meso farm because you do need 100% meso drop on your gear to maximize that portion of the meso equation, and at least 67% of drop in your gear in order to maximize that portion. I wouldn't say maximize, but to fill that requirement for your meso drops. So yeah, so you're asking, okay, well, how do I do that? Well, luckily, you have exactly 9 slots that can obtain these lines. So you have 4 rings, 2 pendants, face and eye, and your ear. And your ear. So just coordinate these however you want. Doesn't necessarily matter. Don't cube your superior ring for item percent or drop or meso or whatever. But if you get it and you get 2 lines, keep it. That's what happened here. I had it at 17 stars. I was at 15% luck and I wanted to go farther, but I got this. So I just sucked it up, did more dailies on Helix, and ended up getting a decent one, I'd say. So yeah, get your so I guess to recap that little bit, CRA first to 19 or 21 stars. Superior Gollux earrings and belt to same thing. Probably 21 stars, I would say. Transferring over, of course. Arcanes to 17, 19 or 21 if you have everything else maxed out pretty much. Then your rings if you get them. Of course, Superior Gollux Pendant and Ring 17, 19, or 21 stars. Those are good checkpoints that people typically leave off on. But if you're balls to the wall, man, hey, 22 star, go for it. So yeah, now the last part of cubing after you get your meso and farming gear is having a second set for damage. This would help with not only your weekly income for boss clears, but it would also help for your contribution for bosses. And being able to solo bosses versus partying is a huge increase of your own mesos, your damage, and your farming capabilities. So if you are having trouble farming mobs, for example, you don't want to invest in a secondary set of items that will help you do that. You want to keep your item and drop item rate and meso rate drop items. Yeah. And then work on something else. So for example, let's say I can't one hit the maps I'm farming at. Okay, well, look at the items that are universally equipped, but whether you're farming or not, and upgrade those, i.e. CRA, Arcane, maybe not Superior Gollux items, you know, but your weapon. Get your cubes, your potential lines set up on your WSE. Get those in line. Get yourself a fairy heart for sure, or a glimmering heart if you just rock like that, you know. Look for a better cup that isn't going to change until you get a book from Hard Will. I mean, you could even do these annoying dailies, but eventually it gives you a nice little stat boost, right? 20 main stat, 20 secondary stat, 30 of an irrelevant stat, unless you're a Xenon, so you'll get int and strength as your other totems for this quest line. But if you look on the right there, an extra 10 weapon and magic attack. So 21, 31 weapon and magic attack, 20 main stat, 20 secondary stat. I mean, it's kind of worth it if you're trying to min-max your damage and you need help when hitting. But yeah, that's basically it. If you wanted to go a little further, I can spend a minute or two talking about that. You can look at boss mules to increase your income. Now, it's instinctually you're not going to want to spend money on characters that are not your main if you're trying to progress your main. But it's a small investment that pays back 10, 20, 40, 50, 100 fold depending on how long you play. So let's say you drop 5 bill. Okay, let's take this this hero for example. I dropped about 5 bill on it. Better example is Demon Slayer. I dropped about 6 or 7 bill on this Demon Slayer. I gave it maybe 200, 300 nodes. You know, once all of these were where I wanted them to be. And now he brings in I think 6 or 700 mil a week. If I kept playing for another 2 months, I made my money back, and I've already set up a character that can continually give me that money back. That's the whole concept for boss mules. You will need a lot of Legion, I've discovered recently, helping a friend out. You will need a lot of Legion to get boss mules effective, with less spending, right? So for right now, I got my main that can solo pretty much all of the weekly bosses up to Lucid. And then my Ice Lightning that can do Lomian, which is Lotus and Damien, up to that point at least. Demon Slayer, which is everything before Lomian. Hero stops at 3-door CRA, which is just Von Bon, the chicken, Pierre the clown, and the queen. I don't know her, I forget her name. But yeah. And that should cover most of it on a broad scale. Yeah, if you have any questions, please, I'm always happy to help. Throw your questions out in the comments. I'll always respond to all of them. And if you boom any items following this guide, let me know, and we will sulk together.